Hey friends, Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Jobu, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. Because without you guys, this just would not work. Man, it is colder than a witch's tit outside, man. The wind is blowing like crazy. It's about 15 degrees right now. I think Saturday here in DC, it's only going to be like 7 or 8 degrees of high temperature. I know we're not in the Great White North up in, Minnesota or Green Bay, where I know it's even colder there. So I'm not complaining too much because I know you guys have it a lot worse. But please be careful out there. And it makes me wonder, why the hell are they putting the Super Bowl in Minnesota? If the temperature is like this, it's going to be crazy. Think about it. Everybody's going to be bundled up to get there, to get through security. And when you get inside the stadium, I haven't been there at that stadium yet, but I'm wondering, where's everybody putting their coats, their hats, their gloves, and all that stuff? And think about having to go through security wearing all that stuff. It needs to be someplace warm where everybody's wearing, skimpy clothes. The women are in shorts, tank tops and stuff. Not bundled up in the cold. Come on, NFL. What are you thinking? But before I get to the topic here, I got to thank some more people who are now entered into the contest. Our weekly drawing: Martin Ortiz, Naya Tessa, I think, better notice, how about them Cowboys? Boy, I can't even pronounce this one. Baba Sola? Anyway, all y'all are entered into the contest. I appreciate all the support. We're upgrading the channel, and can't wait, because we're truly going to make this a broadcast studio. And what we're doing is we're doing weekly drawings around live streams on Monday. And speaking of live stream, tomorrow night's live stream, backed by popular demand, will be call-ins. That's right. We will do another call-in show, and we may go for an extra 30 minutes because the way you guys called in last week, oh my God, you guys flooded the lines. And we're going to make it a call-in show. We'll be able to talk about the Cowboys' lack of changing of coaches, the players that look like they're staying or going, and where do the Cowboys go from here. Now, when you're talking about the Cowboys, the first thing you need to do is get a refill. So we're going to get a refill here for Jobu. I know I'm going to get flack on this, because Cowboy fans, one thing I can always say is we are passionate. Whether you were a Tony Romo fan or against Tony Romo, you guys were passionate about your views. And the same thing about Jason Garrett. People think either Jason Garrett is an idiot and needs to go, or they're passionate and think he's a great coach. It's the players around him that failed. Well, of course, for any quarterback in the Dallas Cowboy era, you are the most loved and hated player in the NFL. And that's where Dak Prescott is right now, because there's basically two camps. There's the, he's a bum, he's never going to be anything, he's never done anything, and we need to get out of here, get rid of him. If you can trade him, trade him. If not, just cut his ass, get him out, he sucks. Or you're on the other side of the fence and you say, okay, he's only a 2-year player, give the man some time. There were problems that went on around him. I mean, his season wasn't anywhere near as good as last year. We get that. He regressed, but so did the team. And he only had 22 touchdown passes and 13 interceptions. Now, people won't look at any of those interceptions that were tipped balls, especially some of the ones that were tipped balls and went pick six. They won't count those. They'll just look at the number and say, wow, he sucked up the place. He had games where he didn't have 200 yards. What if your rookie quarterback, his first year, had 9 touchdown passes and 18 interceptions? And then he followed it up the next year with 11 TD passes and 18 interceptions. More interceptions than touchdowns. And then followed it up his third year with 11 TD passes and only 10 interceptions. Would you say you need to get rid of that guy because he sucks? He's been given 3 years and hasn't done a damn thing. We need to get somebody else. And what if he came out his fourth year, had 23 touchdown passes, and 14 interceptions? Would you feel better about him then? Or would you still say, you know what? That's just not cutting it. That's not an NFL quarterback that we can win with. Okay. Because that's Troy Aikman's first 4 seasons. The best one, his fourth year, 23 touchdown passes, 14 interceptions, with a QBR rating of 89.5. And you look at all the other years before where he had 18 interceptions the first 2 years and 10 the second. You look at those numbers, and they are not that good. Not very good at all. You were talking about a 55 rating as a rookie, 66 as his second year, 86 his third year, and 89 his fourth year. But believe it or not, that year was the most touchdown passes that Troy Aikman threw in his career. 23. He never eclipsed 20 TD passes ever again. That is a fact. So when you look at those numbers, and his career QBR was an 81.6, he had 165 TDs to 141 touchdowns. Now, mind you, Dak Prescott's season this year wasn't that good. 22 and 13. Kind of like Troy Aikman's fourth year. You get my point here? And I know we could say that the Cowboys team was terrible in 89 because they started all over in 90. But 91 and 92 turned around quite a bit. But yet, those are the numbers that are right there. Now, one other thing I look at here is first part of the first half of the season between the Giants, the Broncos, the Cardinals, the Rams, and the Packers game. We're talking about he had 1 touchdown pass, 2 touchdown passes, 2 touchdown passes, 3 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, and 3. So he was balling the first half of the season. The team was doing better. I mean, we scored 30 points plus twice at home, but because we couldn't hold a lead, we lost. But then we hit, even Kansas City got 2 TD passes. But then we hit the Falcons, the Eagles, and the Chargers. The Chargers came close to being a playoff team, but they've got a hell of a pass rush. And you've got the Chiefs and the Falcons, which are both playoff teams, and the Eagles, which definitely is a playoff team. And that's when things started to turn, because you had those 3 games where you didn't have any TDs. And that's kind of understandable to a point when you didn't have Tyron Smith, your tackle, when you get sacked by the Falcons by 8 times, 6 times by one guy. You're getting hit. You don't have your best blocker, and I'm sorry, anybody who thinks that Chaz Green is the same as Tyron Smith doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. Chaz Green never played again for us after that game against the Falcons. But Byron Bell wasn't much better. You look at the difference of Tyron Smith, that Dak Prescott is getting a 90. When Tyron Smith doesn't play, it's like a 66. That's a reason. I know it's not an excuse. It's a reason. But it's one of those things you got to look at and say, okay, that was kind of part of the problem. You're also playing great pass rushing teams. The Eagles, great pass rushers. The Chargers, great pass rushers. The Falcons has a pretty good defense as well. And the Chiefs. So you look at those things and say, okay, that was kind of a rough patch. But the thing that I'll put out there is the Redskin game. The Redskin game, people don't remember that Dak Prescott got his hand jacked up on a helmet. His hand was swollen up, literally looked like a foot. Didn't look like a hand. And my question is, because clearly the rest of the games that season, this last season, kind of went downhill. Was that hand worse off than what we thought? Did he have problems gripping the football? Because here's the thing with football. Football, you're a warrior. Towards the end of the season, everybody's beat up. You go out and play if there's any way you can get off of your deathbed. You got a guy like Jack Youngblood basically his femur was broken. They taped it up and he played the game. You've heard about Ben Roethlisberger playing with the tore ACL. Jason Witten with the lacerated spleen. You go out and play regardless. You don't complain. You go out and play if you are physically able. But my question is, with that hand looking the way it was against that Redskins, did he end up having problems gripping the ball? Could that have been part of the inaccuracy problems going down the stretch? I dare say it's possible. If you don't believe me, take your hand and go through and smack it on the tabletop. Just go through and whap. Let that sucker swell up like crazy, and then you go out and try and throw a football. And if you can go out and throw it the same way, same force, in the same spiral, with it like that, then I guess I'm just an idiot. But taking a look at a whole on the season, as bad as he played and the team played as well around him, between the injuries, between the inconsistency in the offensive line, between losing Zeke Elliott and things like that, he still ended up with an 86.6 QBR, 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, with a 62.9% completion rate. Not lighting the world on fire, not anywhere near the numbers he had last year, but far away from saying kick that guy to the curb. Because in the end, you want him to succeed. Because I hear people saying, oh, let's just trade him away and we'll just draft another quarterback. Well, you remember, the Cowboys are trying to move up to take Paxton Lynch. Has Paxton Lynch sniffed the field yet in Denver? And it's not like they don't need a quarterback. Look at Jared Goff last year. You got a good coach with him, night and day difference. Carson Wentz last year. You got him some receivers and an offensive line, and look what he did this year. So that's my take on it. I don't see us going out and trying to get a Kirk Cousins for $30+ million. I don't see us trying to trade up from the 19th spot to get in to try and get one of the quarterbacks in the front, a la, say, 3 number 1s and a number 2 like the Washington Redskins. You want Dak Prescott to be your franchise quarterback, who's only making $650,000 a year for the next 2 years. Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see, but take it easy on our quarterback. And I'm sure I'm going to get all kinds of comments on here because they're going to say, how dare I talk about Dak and Troy Aikman in the same sentence? Well, I'm giving you the numbers. If you have a real legitimate argument that proves me wrong, please, by all means, tell me. And as always, friends, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. And if you want to get in on the drawing for this Bill Bates autograph shirt, just go to my CowboyJobu website, and you can click on the donation button. So I'm going to break it. Click on the donation button. Any donations at all will enter you into the contest, and we'll draw it on Monday, and we do a drawing every Monday night. So as always, friends, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report.
Turn things on or off from anywhere in the room. Just plug in the clapper and it. Lamp, stereo, almost anything you want to clap on and off. Clap on!